It's a different room. Okay. Yeah, we are going. What? Come on, the stand is on here. What you come down? Come on, what you down? What? Yeah. What? Yeah.
I was impressed by the quality of questions asked. Many times people expect personal questions. The Appointments Committee of Parliament took the opportunity to interrogate my key agenda. They wanted to know how, for instance, I would invigorate the National Consultative Forum of Political Parties, which is provided for under Article 71 of the Constitution of Uganda. And I was frank. I told them that that forum is financially crippled. It is supposed to be co-chaired. The deputy chair is supposed to come from the main opposition party, but it looks like the agenda setting is limited to the ruling party. When you're a minister, it's your duty to advise the chief executive of the country, and I will be able to do that. I also informed the members of the Appointments Committee that my appointment is unusual in the sense that, first and foremost, I'm not a member of parliament. I'll only be ex officio. But I've ended up here because we have a cooperation agreement with the National Resistance Movement. And the details of our priorities are there. Our commitment to establishing a framework for a genuine national dialogue, which is inclusive, bringing together the building blocks of Uganda. Secondly, in terms of the protection of human rights, I was asked about political prisoners. I assured the committee that it is no longer necessary for me to go on radios and TV to shout about that, because the cooperation agreement provides for a quarterly meeting between myself and the President of Uganda. I believe we will be able to review these files. I have also told the Appointments Committee that I'll request the appointing authority, who is the President of Uganda, to allow me sit on the National Security Council to offer advice to many of our leaders of the security sector, the military and the police and the intelligence community, to let them know how operations relating to security need to be handled in a manner which complies with the Constitution and does not violate human rights. These are practical responses that I gave. So the Appointments Committee was focused on real issues, and I'm very grateful for that, because many times there's a fear by those who go for vetting that the engagement will be largely on personal issues. I was very impressed by the Appointments Committee.
Are you intending to retain your seat as the Deputy President at the same time serving as the Minister?
I have answered that question already. I know I will keep answering it until I die, but the constitution of DP and the cooperation agreement are not mutually exclusive. I signed it as the president of the Democratic Party, and I'll continue discharging my duty as the president of the Democratic Party. I've heard voices calling for me to step aside. I think the reason is not the cooperation agreement. The reason would have been, for instance, if members said you will be too busy. I think that one I would listen to it because it would be reasonable. But the venomous outbursts that I had definitely shows that many of our members have not yet internalized the implications of this cooperation agreement. It is important that DP has a leadership which is committed to those issues. So, yes.
So are you likely to engage your party members over this?
It is a requirement of our constitution that when, as a chief executive, I commit the party, it's my duty to explain to the national organs. This is not the first time we have signed agreements. As you know, we signed the TDA protocol. There were no prior consultation. In fact, I was in hospital when the TDA protocol was signed. I was admitted. When I came out, I read the document. It was not a big deal for me to say I was not consulted or I didn't know about the details. When something is good, you support it. That's if you have goodwill. But if you have ill will, even the best things are bad for you. We then signed the DP block agreement, which brought us our old members who had gone off and formed other parties. We signed it, and later we discussed it in national organs. There will be no difference with this also. We must know that political parties are governed by their constitutions. And many of the people expressing their objections, I want to assure them they're entitled to their opinions. And that's why we are called the Democratic Party. And there will continue to be that kind of freedom for members to speak up and criticize the leadership. And the leadership is committed to being accountable. As we talk now, I think many of our members are beginning to appreciate that the transition is continuing. There are some people who will wake up and they'll be talking about the transition and they'll be told that it has been done. We have decided to invest in the areas which we believe in. Peaceful presidential transition, national reconciliation, fighting corruption, an inclusive national dialogue, and ensuring a rack of democratic constitutional reforms that empower citizens. That is the heart. But as I notice, the media is more interested in the clash between Norbert MAO and a few people, but nobody has a veto on what the Democratic Party decides through its organs.
You've talked about the cooperation agreement.
How are you?
I'm fine. Era notukako ku DP itayola n'abasirikale
Omanyi bitulwa ebino bitono nnyo olowooza abo basinga gwe ng'oli munda mu DP abo baliwo bamusinga amaanyi abo baliwo kati bogamba olaba ko walina structure buli kimu but we could engage. Kati wali bino si lutalo Uganda nene okusinga ekintu kyonna.
Honorable Ngambe kyewakoze kiyamba ani?
Kiyamba Uganda ne honorable Mwanga Kibunga.